Welcome to ACAP Guilford's monthly meeting. We are so glad to have you join us today. Are you familiar with ACAP and what it is? Let me give you a brief description, okay? ACAP Community is an educational 501c3 nonprofit organization that offers information, resources, support, and community for those of us who are caring for aging parents. As you can tell from our name, our focus is on supporting adults as they care for their aging parents. However, all caregivers are welcome, whether you're an adult child, another relative, a friend, or a professional. Each of our 9 ACAP chapters, which are located across the Eastern Seaboard, offers monthly programs that address issues related to aging, family dynamics, and adult-child caregiving. Presenters are experts on the topic that they address, and many are or have been caregivers for their own parents or in-laws. Guilford meets on the 3rd Thursday of each month, and beginning today, our meetings will begin with a light lunch and a chance to speak with others who are caring for aging parents, followed by a program about an important topic at noon. As I said, we'll provide lunch, but please register in advance so that we can be prepared with enough food for everybody. Our meetings take place at Senior Resources of Guilford at 1401 Benjamin Parkway in Greensboro. Now, for folks who simply cannot participate in person, you can view our programs at noon on our Facebook page and the ACAP community website. You can also watch all of our past programs from all of our 9 chapters on our YouTube channel. We would like to thank our sponsor for today's program, Health Team Advantage. Let's welcome Shelby Klein to tell you a little bit more about that.
Well, hello. Good morning, everybody, and good morning to all of our viewers out there. Just want to welcome y'all to ACAP in our first ever lunchtime meeting. We are with Health Team Advantage, and we are a Medicare Advantage company. I know we have a couple of members here in our audience, and we're happy to have you here with us. But we are local to North Carolina. There are many Medicare Advantage companies, but we are proud to say that we are local only in the state of North Carolina. We are in 11 counties, but the Triad is our primary counties where we have the most members at. Kind of our claim to fame in comparison to other Medicare Advantage companies is that when you call our 1-800 number, and everybody hates calling a 1-800 number, I know I do, you will talk to a human being within 20 seconds of calling. And we monitor that, we keep up with that, and each of our members are assigned to their own personal health care concierge. So we have more information. If you have questions about Medicare, you have my cards. We'll put our information up here, and we would love to be able to help you. And thank you so much for letting us be here.
Thank you, Shelby, and thank you for the delicious lunch today. Now let's turn to our program. First of all, I'd like you to know that we'd like this to be your program. So if you have questions or comments, go ahead and raise your hand and the speaker will respond. Or if you are at a distance live streaming, write something in the chat box and we'll be monitoring that. Today, our program, Morning Stretch, the importance of movement for older bodies, could also be called How to Have Fun While Doing Something That Is Incredibly Good for Your Body and Your Brain. What does that mean? Well, Savannah Altizer is here to tell us. Savannah is a wellness coordinator and exercise physiologist for Health Team Advantage. She creates exercise programs for people who are living with cardiovascular disease and diabetes. And she also teaches about the benefits of health and exercise in the community to help improve overall health and well-being for seniors. Savannah is from Virginia and received her bachelor's degree from Roanoke College and a master's degree from Marshall University in exercise physiology. Savannah is a certified strength and conditioning specialist as well as a certified clinical exercise physiologist. Ms. Altizer, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming today. I really appreciate it. And like she said, anything that you have that you want to say doesn't have to be a question. If you just want to add something to the conversation, that's perfectly fine. And I'm happy if you do so. Today we're going to talk a little bit about exercise. Is what it sounds like, right? So I'm going to get you moving a little bit today. But we're also just going to talk about how exercise can benefit you or your loved one, and how we can step over some of the barriers that may stop us from having good diet or good exercise. Okay. How do I change this slide? Like that. Okay. So I think we all know what happens when we get older. Okay. We get arthritis. We maybe have high blood pressure. Okay. Maybe we get high cholesterol. Maybe we have decreased muscle mass, and maybe we get increased body fat. So really, we just don't look or feel as good as we used to anymore. Okay. Is anybody experiencing that?
Yes.
Okay. It happens. Okay. So really, our lifestyle starts to catch up with us over time. Okay. So the things that we did in our 20s, our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, eventually they're going to catch up to us over time. Okay. Our goal really is to make sure that we can stop those as soon as possible with blood work, hopefully. So I'm urging you to get blood work at your doctor so you can see what's happening under the hood, right? If we don't get blood work, then we're not going to know what's going on. Okay. So for example, I just got my cholesterol done. I'm almost 30 years old. Okay. So this is around the time that I would want to know what's actually happening. Okay. And I got my blood work done. I saw my cholesterol's a little high. I know that I probably need to do more cardiovascular exercise, which I don't really like to do anyway, and probably eat a little bit better. Okay. So the same with you all, the same with people that you take care of. We need to know what we're looking at and what's actually wrong with us. Okay. So I urge that you get blood work taken and kind of evaluate your lifestyle a little bit. But diet, physical activity, and exercise are the best preventative medicine. So even though with Health Team Advantage, and we do do insurance, obviously, I have the best job because I get to help people stay away from medications, stay out of the hospital, and that is my main goal as a professional at this company. So that's what I want you all to help you all do today, hopefully, is to learn more about how we can maybe stop taking some medications, feel a little bit better, and overall improve our well-being in our life. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about how exercise can help us. What does it do? You'll see a big laundry list right here of things that it does. Believe it or not, exercise helps you immediately, okay? And how it can help you immediately, it can help your sleep quality. So I don't know if you've ever been really active during a particular day, and then you sleep during the night, and you're like, oh my gosh, I slept like a rock, okay? It's because you were active during that day instead of just maybe just sitting around like you usually do, watching TV, reading a book, whatever, right? We're a little bit more active. So it can improve your sleep quality. You can feel less anxious because we're not thinking about things that make us particularly anxious. And it can reduce your blood pressure immediately. So our blood vessels and things like that are immediately opened up to let more blood and oxygen through to our muscles. So our blood pressure is immediately going to decrease. Okay, so those are immediate things that can happen. Some things that can happen over the long term, meaning 3 to 6 months, you're going to see these changes. You're going to see an increase in brain health. So if we have a risk of Alzheimer's or dementia, if we have a family member that already has Alzheimer's or dementia, this can not only help prevent that, but it can also help slow the disease progression of that. Okay, help your heart health. So I don't know if any of you have had a heart attack or had a loved one who's had a heart attack, but what the doctor prescribed will be exercise and probably a different medication, but mostly exercise. So we'll go with cardiac rehab, right? So that's a good way to help your heart health. This will lower your stroke risk and lower your risk for type 2 diabetes. It will lower your risk for cancer, for certain types of cancer. Okay, so bladder, breast, colon, endometrium, esophagus, kidney, lung, stomach cancer. Right? I think we all want that. It can help with your weight. Obviously, that's why most people think they need to exercise, right, to decrease their weight. Independent living. I think this one's huge, okay? Because as we get older, I think we think of things being like, oh my gosh, I don't want other people to take care of me. Or I don't want to be a burden on other people, or I want to, get up and walk around, or get up off the chair, or whatever it might be, as long as possible as we're aging, and this is really going to help that. Bone strength, so if you're a woman in particular, over the age of 50, you're more at risk for osteoporosis, and this will help that as well. And balance and coordination, one of the major reasons people go to the hospital is they fall, so this will help that as well, okay? So if I told you that a pill would do all of these things, you'd take this in a heartbeat, right? Yeah. Okay. So people don't do diet and exercise the way that they should. Why do you think that is? right? We all know this. This isn't new information. I'm not telling you something groundbreaking here, right? Does anybody have any idea?
trouble.
Too much trouble? Why is it too much trouble?
It just takes effort.
It's just effort, right? It's a lot. Okay, so I have a theory about that. Okay, so people will say like, oh my gosh, it's too much effort. It's a lot of effort. I'm too busy. Whatever the case may be, right? I think that we're a creature of habit, right? We like our schedule. We like our routine. Anything that gets between us and our routine, we don't love. We automatically don't like it. Okay, so really what I found is that people, when they implement exercise or physical activity or whatever, they go all in. So they'll say, I'm going to go to the gym and walk on the treadmill for 30 minutes, 5 days a week, and maybe throw in some other stuff in there. Okay, that's messing your schedule up completely. Okay, so I recommend that you start slow, okay, with exercise. So maybe you don't go to the gym. Maybe you just walk around the block at your house 2 days a week. That's not really messing your schedule up that much. Okay, once you get used to that, you have a routine, then you can build it up from there. But really, I think that's one of the major reasons why people don't exercise is because it messes up our routine and it becomes too much. Okay? Any other reasons why we think we don't exercise? Walk over here for water. Anybody else have an idea? I think we don't exercise because maybe sometimes we feel nervous. Okay, so maybe we have a heart problem. Maybe we feel like we're a little bit off balance. Maybe we have a breathing problem and we feel a little bit nervous to exercise. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about how we can mitigate those feelings of nervousness today, but I think that's a major reason why other people don't exercise. Okay, do we have any questions so far? It's nice and warm in here. You guys just ate. I'm gonna have to get you moving sooner than later. All right. So now we're going to talk about physical activity. So when I tell you to start moving and you haven't exercised in, 10 years, and you've just decided that you want to start implementing this, I recommend that you do physical activity first because it interferes with your routine the least. Okay? So physical activity is not exercise. Instead, it's just moving more. Okay? So it could be walking your dog. It could be grocery shopping. It could be parking a little farther away in the parking lot today. It could be tending to your garden. But whatever it is, you're taking more steps. Your heart rate's up a little bit, right? Your breathing rate's up a little bit. You're actually moving around rather than sitting. So maybe when we're watching TV in the afternoon, we get up and do a few more chores than we usually would, right? So our house is extra clean and we feel extra good, right? So I have something over here. It's like a little chart that has someone sitting on a couch that's sedentary, right? And then I have someone that's playing what looks like tennis, okay? So there are two ends of the spectrum here, and we have a sweet spot, okay? Especially when it comes to injury and feeling good and less fatigued. So you can see that the benefits of exercise really cap out around about 300 minutes per week. Now when I say exercise, I can mean physical activity along with that. So if I just walked in from the parking lot and my heart rate was up a little bit, just a little bit more than usual for maybe about 2 minutes, that does count towards that 300 minutes, okay? So it still counts. So when you think 300 minutes, that does sound like a lot, but it's really not that bad, especially if you incorporate exercise along with that. So really, though, you see the most benefit to risk ratio, right? Risk being this lower line when you hit right about here at 150 minutes, which is what everyone recommends. Okay, 150 minutes of exercise per week. Okay, now if you break that up into like structured exercise, I'm not good at math, but you're looking at about 30 minutes. I don't know, what is that? Like 5 times a week, 5 times a week. Okay, I have like the cheat code back there. 5 times a week. That's about 30 minutes, 5 times a week. Anybody can, walk around, maybe do a little bit of strength training 5 times a week. Okay, but I don't recommend that you just hop into it. So do it slowly. All right. Do you have any questions about physical activity? That's the easy part. Yeah.
I heard from time to time that even if you did it in 10-minute pieces, you probably lose track.
Yeah.
But those 10-minute getting your heart rate up is still good. Do you agree with that?
Yes, exactly. Which is why I say if you go out and, park farther away today and you walk, 2 minutes extra, that's still 2 minutes that's added that you didn't have before. Right? So even if you do a 10-minute walk in the morning, 10-minute walk in the evening, if you don't feel like you can do a whole 20, 30 minutes, you can definitely start with that 10 minutes. Yeah. I like breaking it up. I would lose track, but yes, you can break it up. So we have types of exercise. Exercise is different from physical activity because we're tracking it. Okay, so we don't really track how much we're, walking outside or walking our dog or whatever. We're not tracking that. But we are tracking exercise, okay? And there are 3 main types of exercise that we want to focus on for our health and for the health of those that we care about. So we have cardiovascular exercise. Does anybody want to give me a good example of that? No, we're a quiet group. Okay. Walking is one. Okay. Swimming.
Jumping
Those,
Jumping jacks. Yes.
right, those senior, what do they call it, silver sneakers exercise
Yes,
programs.
that's perfect. Yes. It also segues into something else I'm going to talk about later. That's perfect. Yeah, so anything that increases your heart rate or your breathing rate. Okay. So a good way to kind of tell how hard you're working is if you were walking next to someone and you were trying to talk to them, but you had to, take a few breaths between talking. You're at a good rate. Your heart rate's increased, your breathing rate's increased, and you're doing cardiovascular exercise. Okay. That's a good way to tell what you're doing. Resistance training. I would argue that this is most important for longevity, for independence, and for feeling well throughout your life. And not many people do it. Does anyone in here do resistance training with weights or their body weight? Okay, one person. Okay, see? Okay. So this is really, really important, especially for women, because our bones start to become brittle, right? We get osteoporosis. That can happen to men too, but usually it happens to women. Okay? So this is exercise that builds muscle and strengthens your bones. You do not have to use weight for this. You don't have to go to a gym for this. You can do it with your body weight. You can do it with resistance bands. You can do it with dumbbells, barbells, kettlebells, whatever the additional weight is. You can do it with cans, soup cans. You can do it with milk jugs, whatever. And then we have mobility and flexibility. This is also one that nobody focuses on, but is very, very helpful. And it only takes a few minutes. This is one we're going to do today, actually. So it's exercises that can help improve your joints' range of motion. Okay? So any range of motion that you have, some people can't lift their shoulder up, to here, right? That's a range of motion. Okay, some people can't go out here. That's a range of motion. So you want to work on that, especially with your legs and your hips and knees and all that good stuff, especially if we have arthritis. This type of exercise can help. Okay? Questions yet? We're going to go over those a little bit more.
So if you have arthritis, it's important to keep moving, or should you stop moving?
That's a good question. It depends. It depends really because, if you're just having mild pain, then I would say you should keep moving, right? Studies have found that the more we move with arthritis, generally, the better we're going to feel, okay? So the more inflammation you have in your joints, the more you move around, usually the better that's going to feel. And you can do other things like ibuprofen or things like that that can help minimize the inflammation in your joint. If you're having particularly bad pain that day, right, with arthritis, I know that, you all probably all experienced that, oh my gosh, it's raining or whatever the case may be, you've done a little bit too much in the past few days. Then I would suggest maybe taking a day or two off, calming it down a little bit, doing a little bit less physical activity. Okay, so that was a good question. So the answer is it depends. Arthritis is a hard one to tightrope. It's like a tightrope, right? So you're walking a thin line there, whether it feels good or whether it hurts that day. Okay. But on the topic of arthritis, and really anything else, the timing of your exercise matters. Okay. Specifically with arthritis, though, because we want to get moving as quickly as we can throughout the day, so that our fluid in our joints are able to circulate. We feel good. We feel like we're able to move, and we have that range of motion back. Does anybody know why else we would want to exercise earlier in the day?
Before you start your busy day.
Yeah, because we end up getting busy, right? We end up having things that just kick out exercise. It kicks out things that we want to do because we haven't planned for it. Okay, so I would recommend starting exercise first, not only because it can help. If you have diabetes, if you have, arthritis, anything like that, that's going to help minimize those throughout the day. But really, you want to be as active as soon as you can. And I'm going to give you some exercises to do that today. You want to begin your day with activity that will significantly increase the chance that you're actually going to exercise. Okay, so if I start my day and within the first hour I'm outside walking for 15, 20 minutes, that's already out of my day and I don't have to think about it anymore. Okay, so that's immediate. But again, the more you put in your day, the more you're going to put it off, right? So you say, I'll exercise later, I'll exercise later. Later never comes, right? I know we've all heard of that. So it's true. Moving also, like I said, helps alleviate the pains of arthritis a little bit. Does anybody have any questions about the timing of exercise? Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about cardiovascular exercise. So we've already talked a little bit about that, about what it is. So there are recommended amounts of cardiovascular exercise for older adults. We're going to talk about the things that I think keep people from exercising. Okay, so like I said before, 150 minutes of moderate aerobic exercise or 75 minutes of vigorous aerobic exercise. This can help if you have diabetes. It can help if you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, dementia, any of the above. Okay, it can help all of that. Now you might be wondering how I know if it's moderate or vigorous exercise. And there are a few ways to know that. Okay, the first one's really simple in that if you're talking to somebody, how hard you're breathing, or if you can talk to them at all. Okay, so if you're doing vigorous exercise, you're not really going to be able to get too many words out. Okay, that's a vigorous exercise. Moderate exercise, you're going to need to take a couple breaths in between saying words, but really you can talk to the other person. Okay, so that's moderate exercise. You can do a combination of both of these and you kind of decrease the amount you're doing for about 120 minutes. Okay, depending on how much of each you're doing. You can also take your heart rate. I think taking your heart rate is important, not only for exercise, but especially if you're a caregiver and for your own health, because sometimes we need to know what our heart rate is. We need to know if it's high, right? Does anybody in here know how to take your heart rate? No? Okay. All right, I'm sure you do, but I'm sure we're being quiet. Okay, so there are multiple ways to do that. The easiest way, if you have a watch, is a Fitbit or an Apple Watch. It will tell you your heart rate. There's like a little heart in the corner. You just have to press it, and it will immediately tell you your heart rate. Another way is your pulse right here. Okay, so your carotid pulse. You would go down from about your jawbone, down maybe an inch, and press in. Okay, you may have to press a little hard. You take this, if you had a clock, you would count for about 30 seconds and multiply that by 2. Okay, and that's your heart rate. All right, if you find this one hard to find, then on your wrist, go about, I guess, another inch. Again, I'm not good at math or measurements. You press down there on that thumb side, and then you get your heart rate. If you're taking somebody else's heart rate, don't use your thumb because you'll get your own pulse. Okay, so if you're ever taking somebody else's heart rate, just these 2 fingers. Okay, any questions about taking your heart rate? So if you're ever scared that your heart rate's getting too high, or you don't know if you're exercising appropriately, that's how you would know. Questions?
What is too high?
Good question. It depends on your age. So the way that we get maximum heart rate, or what your heart rate should maximally be, is 220 minus your age. Okay?
I remember that. 220 minus your age.
Yep. That was a good question. So that would be too high. If you're resting, let's say that you were just sitting here, really, I would say anything at 120 is tachycardic. Okay, so 120 beats per minute. If you were just sitting here, that would be too high. If it maintained that for a period of time, you need to go to the hospital. Okay, less than 40 is too low. You're just sitting here, or really any time. Okay, less than 40 is too low. Bradycardic, you need to go to the hospital. Okay, anything between there though, you're just sitting, resting. It's okay. Okay.
Question.
Yeah.
What did you think about 220 minus what?
220 minus your age is going to be what your maximum heart rate should be.
Oh, the max. Okay,
Yep.
gotcha.
So that should be the highest it would go. And that, it'll be different for different people. Questions? You good? We're going to talk about strength training. I like this one the most, probably because I actually like to do it. Okay. So I don't really like to do cardiovascular exercise. I don't really like to do mobility work or flexibility work or any of that good stuff, or balance. Okay, but I do like to do strength training. I'm going to get on a soapbox here to tell you more about your exercise. I also think people don't exercise because they don't like what they're doing. Okay, so if you go in the gym and you walk and you don't like to walk on the treadmill, you're probably not going to do it, right? So there are things that we should be doing for our health, right? Like cardiovascular exercise. But I don't really like doing that. I like strength training. So I'll make most of my workout strength training. Okay, it'll still get my heart rate up. It'll still get my breathing rate up. I will have to supplement in cardiovascular exercise and flexibility from time to time. But if I do it too much, I just don't want to exercise, so then I just don't do it. So the point here is that you need to do things that you like doing. So if you like to go play pickleball, go play pickleball. Okay, if you like to, I don't know, try to think of good examples. If you like to do, I don't know, silver sneakers classes, with your friends, go do silver sneakers classes with your friends. It does not have to be this structured. I'm just giving you what a holistic routine should look like for your health. Okay. Step on my soapbox. Strength training is fantastic for the reasons that I've already told you. Okay, so it can increase your muscle strength, endurance, and power. You're just gonna feel better. Okay, you're gonna feel like you have more energy. It can increase your bone, muscle, connective tissue, growth, and durability. Okay, make you look better. I know all women ever have the little fat underneath their arm called a bat wing. Everybody freaks out about that. Okay, you can get rid of your bat wing with some strength training. Communication between your brain and your muscle. Okay, so if you have Parkinson's, if you have Alzheimer's, if you had a stroke, this is the number one thing that you want to be doing because it can kind of make your brain and your muscles talk to each other. Okay, and those are some things that we lose with those diseases. Help your growth hormones, blood glucose regulation if you have diabetes, and your aerobic fitness as well. Okay. Okay. So we've already talked about all these different things that can treat and help. So really, a good exercise plan does not have to include weights. Okay. Or a good fitness as far as like resistance training doesn't have to include weights. It could include anything in your house, really. Okay. So if you just wanted to do these exercises at your house, you can do these at your house with soup cans, jugs of milk, whatever it may be, just your body weight, that's fine. If you wanted to still exercise at home, you could get a set of dumbbells. Those are a little expensive, but you could buy them. You could also get resistance bands. Also, those are probably your cheaper options. You're looking at about $20 or $30 on Amazon for those, and they're really easy to get. Okay, so those are good to use. Really, you want to be doing this about 2 to 3 times a week, strength training. Okay, especially if you're a woman. 2 to 3 times per week. You don't have to go to a gym for this. You can do exercise classes. Some exercise classes incorporate strength training. Okay, a lot of silver sneakers classes, Ahoy classes, that type of thing. We'll incorporate that. I won't really give you an amount for the exercises. It has them listed here as far as sets and reps and all that good stuff, but I won't really mention that here. Now, if you go to a gym, you obviously have the equipment there. You have the dumbbells and barbells and all that good stuff. Now, all that gets confusing, okay? Does anybody ever walk into a gym and be like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do this, I'm scared, I'm gonna just need to get out of here, right? Okay, so there are people in that gym to help you, okay? And most of the time you can get that help for free, all right? So if you go up to the front desk and you say, hey, I don't know how to work this piece of equipment, like I really wanna use it, it looks cool, I've seen people use it, go up to the front desk, ask that person to help you out, and those people are there to show you how to use that equipment. So don't be embarrassed or think that, people are looking at you because they're too worried about themselves, right? So I encourage you to go to the gym if you haven't. If you don't have a silver sneakers benefit, I would encourage you to use it to get a free gym membership. And maybe go to a gym and try some of these resistance training types of things. Okay. Yes.
Savannah, could you explain body weight as resistance training
Yeah.
a little bit more?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think
So
that's what I try to do.
yeah, that's perfect. So body weight can be used in a lot of different ways. Okay. Body weight can also be a little bit harder than if you just use weights. Okay. If I go down and do a push-up, right, I'm using probably 70% of my weight. Whereas if I were to use dumbbells, now I'm using, I don't know, whatever it is that I pick, right? So it can be a little harder. But your resistance is your own body, right? So if I go and do a chair squat, I'm using my own body weight for that, right? So that's just the way that it works is relative to your body weight. Now it can make exercises harder. Or if you've been doing it for a long, long time, it can make it too easy. Okay, so you may need to add a weight here and there just to make it a little bit more difficult. Okay.
Add weight in what sense?
You could add a dumbbell, you could add any type of weight, okay? Or you can slow down the movement. So for example, if I'm doing a squat, I won't do it in these pants, but if I'm doing a squat, you could slow down the movement, right? So we could go down slower, come up slower, and that's the way we can make that a little bit harder. Okay. Good question. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, because I go to the gym and too often I'll strain a muscle and I can't go back for weeks.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm like trying different ways.
Yeah. Okay. Do you find that happens with a certain exercise
On the machine?
that you like? That you find that you strain a muscle, is it like with a particular exercise or just a lot of exercises?
Well, with the weights, like the weight training at the gym, it's like the machines can I'm putting too much force on something that I haven't strengthened enough, and then it pulls that,
Okay.
it
Gotcha.
stretches that muscle. So
Okay. Gotcha.
got to try something else.
Okay. Gotcha. So yeah, I would recommend probably lessening the weight or making sure that your form is correct. Okay, that's a big one, for sure.
I've heard that particularly for older adults, you shouldn't have weights over your shoulder height. Is that true?
Interesting. I haven't heard that before.
Okay.
A lot of older adults have shoulder impingement issues or rotator cuff issues. Okay, so I would guess to say probably 70% of you in the room have shoulder issues. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a common injury. That's probably why, right? Because any overhead thing, you have your rotator cuff, you have, any impingement type of thing is gonna just irritate that. So that's probably, I guess, a good rule of thumb. But if you don't have those issues, then I guess you don't have to worry about it. But that is common. Anything else about resistance training? I would recommend looking up exercise videos on different routines that you can do. Okay, I could give you a list of exercises today, but that doesn't mean they're right for you and your personal health history, right? So you may have an injury. That's the reason I don't list exercises up here for resistance training, because everybody's different and everybody can benefit from something different. So I do love a personal trainer. I do love a physical therapist. These are both great people to talk to if you're interested in getting an exercise program tailored to you. Okay. Okay. Next we're going to talk about range of motion. Probably, again, one of the more important ones because everybody, at least most people, deal with arthritis as we age, unfortunately, right? Whether it's in our knee, our hip, shoulder, whatever. So these are important to make sure that our joints move throughout the range of motion. So if we have pain, we stop moving our joints as much, right? Have we found that?
Yeah.
Okay. So there are different ways that we can go through this. And we're going to do range of motion exercises, stretching exercises today. I'm going to wake you up in a second. So we'll be doing those in a second. So there are static stretching exercises, dynamic stretching exercises, and general motion. Okay, general motion should be things that we're doing in the morning when we first get up to get everything moving, cracking, popping, all that good stuff. Okay. Static stretching is a hold, like when you hold a stretch. Okay, so if I were to bring my shoulder over, I'm holding the stretch, that's a static stretch because I'm holding it. Dynamic stretch is if I were to stretch out my chest and my back by doing this. It's dynamic because I'm moving around. Okay, all this is important for arthritis or for general movement. Okay, so you'll find that you have less stiffness, more flexibility, better posture. I think everybody wants that. Reduce risk of injury and improve joint function if you do these types of exercises. You want to do range of motion. This says once or twice a day. Generally, I find if you do it straight in the morning, first thing in the morning, you'll find that you have the most benefit. It's hard to get people to do these twice a day. You could do these a few times and build up some more. So you could start, 8 to 10, move up to 12, 15. I wouldn't do these ranges of motions movements more than 20 times. Okay. You can move until you feel a slight stretch, but if you feel any sharp pain, stop. That's the same with any type of exercise. Sharp pain, not good. Okay. Okay, I think that's it for range of motion. Questions about that? All right, last part here for our exercise portion. We have balance. Okay. Does anybody have issues with balance? Yeah, me too. All right. So if we have issues with balance, if we have loved ones that have issues with balance, we may want to do these. Okay. If you already do exercise, you're already incorporating some balance into your routine. You'll really only want to incorporate these if you have a particular issue with balance. Okay. That's the only time that you want to incorporate these if you have something particularly wrong. There are different things that you can do. You can do them sitting. We have some listed here. You could bring your heel out, bring your toe back, right? This is if you're sitting. These are the most basic ones. You can bring your leg up in a marching position. You can also do standing, right? If you got a chair in front of you. Do recommend having a chair in front of you. Hold on to. Okay. You have standing ones like a clock. So we're standing here. We're bringing our leg out to the side, coming back. I think you bring it back towards the center. Bring it back towards the center. Bring it all the way back towards the center. So we're working on our hip muscles, working on our balancing muscles, working on our core muscles. That's important for balance, right? Let me see. You've got a heel to toe, which is, I guess, what you do when you do a DUI test. I've never done that before. So you just go heel to toe. Let me see what else we got. You can do training progressions with these, so you can make them harder. You can close your eyes, keep your eyes open. You could stand on a foam pad, anything like that. Okay. Questions for balance? No. Now we're gonna talk about diet. Okay. Everybody likes this part. I always get a lot of questions with this part. Okay, so I have the DASH diet up here, but the DASH diet, the Mediterranean diet, I know that we've all heard of those things, right? By your doctor, probably, yeah. So these are all heart healthy diets, okay? So they all have similar things in common. Some of them are going to be a little bit different, but they all have, you know, the most similar things in common. Not a lot of people eat this way. Why do we think that is?
Mostly vegetables, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
People love meat.
Yeah. Yes, that is right. That is right. People do love meat. I think that people don't eat this way because we don't know how to cook this way. Okay, so you see a bunch of random things up here like broccoli, tomatoes, cucumbers, beets, spinach, whatever. How do you make that into a meal, right? So that's confusing. Okay. Also, burgers exist. Okay, I would just like to say that burgers exist, fast food exists, the good stuff exists, and usually that wins over spinach. Okay, if we can make it into something that we actually like to eat, same thing with exercise. If we can make it into something we actually like to eat, then we're more likely to eat it. So if we're craving something on a particular day, let's say that I'm craving, I don't know, lasagna. I could make that into a healthier dish than it was before, right? So maybe I take the meat out. Instead, I blend up some cottage cheese and some vegetables, and I'm still adding the mozzarella on top. And that's a really good lasagna with a little bunch of vegetables in there that are kind of hidden. Okay? So if we can add things in, that's better than taking things out as well. So maybe we get the burger at McDonald's, but then we also, instead of getting the fries, add in, I don't know, broccoli on the side instead. I know at Chick-fil-A, okay, I really like their kale crunch salad that they have on the side. Okay, so I really want a Chick-fil-A sandwich. Sometimes I'll just get the kale crunch salad on the side. Okay, so just adding things in instead of taking things away is really one of the best things you can do. All right, so we have some guidelines here I'm going to talk over real quick. So we have non-starchy vegetables, 3 to 5 servings per day or more. With broccoli, tomatoes, cucumbers, all the vegetables that you think of when you think of vegetables. Okay. Let me see. Cabbage, cauliflower, mushrooms, peppers. The ones that are really, really good for you are the ones that are the cruciferous vegetables. Okay, like cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, really rough vegetables. Okay, those are really good for our stomach. Okay, they have a bunch of fiber, can help us with colorectal cancer, help limit that. So we want to focus on those. Fruit, everybody likes fruit, 4 to 5 servings per day. That's what it recommends. Okay. Whole grains are starchy vegetables. We got quinoa, bread, whole grain bread. Okay. Does anybody know a brand of whole grain bread? Anybody want to give me an example?
Talking about the healthy one?
Yeah.
What's that name? Dave?
Yes, Dave's Killer Bread. That is perfect. Yeah, that's a great one. Okay. So there's a difference between whole wheat and whole grain. Right? So whole wheat is like the kind that still tastes like white bread. And then whole grain is the other kind. Dave's Killer Bread is probably the best example that I can give you because it's at every grocery store ever. Okay. So that's a good one. What else we got? Those are going to be high in fiber. That's the thing with all of these is they're high in fiber. So the more fiber we have, the less our blood sugar is going to spike. Right? So if we have diabetes, that's particularly important. It's going to help any high cholesterol that we have, high blood pressure. So there's brown rice, there's whole wheat pasta, whole grain cereal, potatoes. Sweet is usually better than white potato, has a little bit more fiber, a little more nutrients in it. Lentils, beans, peas, corn. Lean protein, 3 to 6 servings per day. Really any lean meat you can think of, chicken, fish, salmon is particularly good, right? Shrimp, any of that. We want to stay away from red meat as much as we can. Limit that to, I would say, 1 to 2 times a month. Okay. Salt, we want to limit that as much as possible. We know that. Do I have any questions about diet, about what you should eat, different types of stuff you should eat? Okay. All right, I'm gonna get y'all moving. We're gonna wake it up. Okay. So we're gonna stand for all of these, I think. So if you all stand for me, you can have your chair in front of you if you want for some balance. By that I mean it could look like this. Are we awake? We good? All right. So these first exercises are going to be range of motion exercises. These are the first things that you should do in the morning when you wake up. Okay. So we're going to start with our ankles and work our way on up all the way to our head. So first we're going to do dorsiflexion, which sounds fancy, but we're just pointing our toe up. And then we're going to do plantar flexion, so we're just going to point our toe down. Okay. Pointing our toe up, pointing our toe down. We're going to do 5 on each of these. You're going to see that this lasts about 5 minutes, so it's not going to last very long at all. Okay? This is something you can do quick. We're going to switch feet down and up. Again, holding on to the side of the chair if you can. And work on your balance a little bit too. Good. All right, we're going to do ankle rolls. So we're going to go around clockwise if you can, if you don't feel any sharp pain. A lot of people get arthritis in their ankles. And we're going to switch, going the opposite direction. Maybe hear some popping, cracking. Switch legs. And we're going to go the opposite way. Good. All right, good. So that's our ankles, knees. We're going to kick back towards our butt. I'm doing this an opposite way today. Good. This makes my knees feel much better in the morning. Good. Do a couple more of these. All right, good. Now, I'm going to get you to grab on that chair again. Standing straight up, you're going to extend your leg and bring it back. Good. Standing it straight out, as long as you don't feel any sharp pain. Give some creaking, some cracking. Good. We're going to switch. Switch sides. Good. You gotta be good at following directions. Good. For these, you want to point your toe up. All right, good. All right, next we're going to do some leg raises. Okay, so for our leg raises, I'm trying to figure out which ones I did here. Okay, we're going to raise our knee up and back down, like we're marching, really high. Okay, so we're working on our hip here. Getting our heart rate a little bit. Getting our heart rate up a little bit. I can do a couple more of these. Okay, good. All right, next we're going to do standing jacks, which is just fancy for saying you're going to bring your leg out and back down. Good. You should feel this in your glutes, on the side of your butt. All right. Good. And we're going to come back. We're just going to do the opposite leg. Shelby getting good pictures of me over here. Good. A couple more. Ooh, that burns. All right. Next, we're going to do arm hugs. This is exactly what it sounds like. You're just going to give yourself a hug. Good. You're going to bring it back. Good. This is good to start your morning out with, right? Everybody needs a hug. Good. Do 2 more. Good. Next, we're going to do arm kickbacks. We're going to kick back. Come right back down. Move our shoulder joint now. Okay. All right. Next, we're going to do some swimmers. Okay. You may feel some pain in your shoulder. If you do, don't go up as high. Good. All right. Next, T raises. Now come here in the middle. Raise up like a T. Come back down. Good. We're working our muscles a little bit here too. Mostly our joint. Our hip and our shoulder is a ball joint. It has a lot of ranges of motion. Good. Your arms burning yet? Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to do the last one. Arm circles. Camera roll back. We're going to go the opposite way. I won't make your arms burn too much longer. All right, you can bring it down. Good job. Check that out. All right, next we're going to do a bicep curl. So we're working on our elbow joint. We're going to have our thumbs pointing out away from us. We're going to curl up and back down. That's it. We're going to have our elbows tucked in. Okay. If you do actual bicep curls with a weight, your actual bicep curl should look exactly like this, but with your palm facing out. Okay. Good. Next, we're going to work on our wrist. You got wrist curls and finger extensions. I hear people talk all the time about how bad their wrists hurt. Okay. Go around. Go the opposite way. Good. Next, we're going to do some finger curls. We're going to come out, come back in as much as you can. Some people will say, ow, right? If these hurt, don't have to do all of them. Next, we're going to do our neck. Okay, so we're going to look over to our right and down. This is a good stretch. And then to our left and down. Good. That's a good range of motion. So those are your range of motion exercises, okay? So those are things you should do straight first in the morning to get your joints moving. Get the fluid moving in your joints. Next, we have some stretches, okay? So these will help your muscles feel a little bit better. You'll be able to hold the range of motion for a little bit longer. So we're going to do a cross arm stretch, which is kind of what I showed you before. Okay, so we're coming across our body and pulling. Everybody has trouble with this one. We're going to push forward with our palm to get a little bit more of a stretch in our shoulder. Feel this in the back of your shoulder. And we're going to switch sides. Okay. Next, we're going to do a forearm stretch. So we're going to take our hand out. And you can either press down a little bit or just angle it down, depending on what hurts or doesn't hurt for you. You should feel a little stretch right in here and right here. We'll switch. Good. Next, we're going to do an upper back stretch. So we're going to bring our hands together. You're going to press out and round out your upper back. Good. All right. Next, we got a chest stretch. So it's essentially the same thing. We're going to come back behind our back. This is a hard one for some people. Then we're going to press down and out. Okay. Nobody stretches this. If you do this stretch often, you'll have better posture. Good. All right. Next, we got a hip stretch. You can sit back down, please. All right. So, for our hip stretch, if you can, you may need to help give your leg help bring it up. Now bring our leg up towards our knee. And then, if you don't feel a stretch already in your hip, press down. Good. Feel that? Yeah. All right, we're gonna switch. Good. All right. Good job. We're gonna scoot a little farther away from the table so we don't hit our head on the next one. I'm gonna scoot farther away so you can see me. So I'm gonna bring my right leg straight out, my toes pointed up. Okay. Now I'm gonna come down till I feel a stretch in the back of my leg. For me, that's not very far. Good. You may feel this in the back of your leg. You may feel this in your calf, down the bottom part of your leg. We'll switch positions here. Come down. Good. And these are good if you're feeling particularly sore, tired. All right, good. And come back up. Okay, so those were our range of motion stretches, our range of motion exercises, and our stretches. Those are perfect to do in the morning, first thing when you get up. They take, what was that? That was a total of 8 minutes. It was a little longer than I said. But if you just did the range of motion exercises, they'd be about 5. Okay, so it takes no time at all. It'll make you feel a little bit better. Y'all feel a little bit better? You don't have to lie to me. Okay, good. Let's see what else we got. So next we have some resources here for you if you want to learn more about exercise, if you want to get into exercise a little bit more, some resources for you in the community. You have senior centers, kind of like the one we're in right now, right? We all know about that. We have fitness centers, and sometimes these are free with your Silver Sneakers membership, okay? So Health Team Advantage does offer a Silver Sneakers benefit, and most insurance companies offer that as well. Okay, so it's not just us, 90% of insurance companies are going to offer Silver Sneakers as a benefit. You just have to sign up. And I actually have some papers for you today about how to sign up if you aren't signed up already, and how to know if you have this benefit. So this can offer a free gym membership to you at multiple gyms. So if you want to go to the YMCA one day, and then the next day you want to go to Gold's Gym, and the next day you want to go to Planet Fitness, you can do all that. Okay, so with your Silver Sneakers membership. It also includes classes. So this is online classes, this is in-person classes. Parks and recreation, this is great if you want to get into any like kind of sports like pickleball, or meeting people and going out and having like an interactive time with your exercise, because I know sometimes, you know, on the treadmill staring at my phone isn't the most fun thing ever. And I've already talked to you about Silver Sneakers, but I will hand those out in a second along with some exercise packets that I have for you all as well. I think those are the last slides. Does anybody have any questions or want to talk about anything? Anything anybody wants to raise that we can talk about, feel free to do so. Okay. All right. Yeah.
You have their fitness center sometime free with Silver Sneakers. O2 Fitness honors Silver Sneakers.
Yes, they do. And usually they'll have that posted outside on their door with any gym if they have a Silver Sneakers benefit. But you can also look that up online on Silver Sneakers and put your, like, I guess, zip code in, and it'll tell you what gyms are near you that accept that. Yep. O2 is good. Any other questions?
Okie dokie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Savannah, you have given us so much information, and for me personally, I've got a lot of motivation going on here. 8 minutes and I'm going to feel better for the rest of the day. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for being with us
Thank you.
today.
Absolutely.
A special thanks again to Health Team Advantage for sponsoring today's program and for the delicious lunch. I hope you will all be with us right here at Senior Resources of Guilford next month for our program. It will be on Thursday, March 21st. Again, lunch will begin at 11:30 and our program will begin at 12. Dr. Beverly Jones, a geriatric psychiatrist, will be speaking about recognizing and managing anxiety and depression in older adults. A very different kind of topic, but an awfully, awfully important one. When we see people having some problems with their emotions, their feelings, we don't really often know exactly how we can respond in supportive ways. Dr. Jones is an expert in this field. Do remember to come in person, but register in advance so that we have lunch for you. And if you'd like to do that, you can, in order to do that, go to acapcommunity.org and just, you'll see a place to register right there. If you'd like to be notified regularly about our upcoming programs, like us, quote unquote, on our Facebook page at ACAP Guilford. Thank you so much for being here today, and we look forward to seeing you next month. Bye-bye.
If anybody wants any information